We'll see if anybody joins in on these Facebook Lives. They normally don't, but who the hell knows?
I'll share it.
But we're on right now.
All right.
We should be. Let me check and just make sure. I'm already sweating up in here. I can't take hot weather.
I'm not wild about it, but I'm to the point where I don't feel like I'm dying anymore.
Right. Yeah, there we are right there.
Oh, it's on you.
Yeah. Not the craft conversation, so. All right. What's going on, guys? It's a craft conversation here in the travel trailer. I'm sweating like a bitch already, guys. I don't know why, but I've been doing a lot getting this thing set up, I guess, and I had the AC on trying to cool the trailer down. You know, I don't know what the fucking weather is right now, 70 something, mid 70s.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah.
I got Mr. Eric Barnett here in the studio. What's going on, man?
Not too much. Not
Doing
too
all right?
much. Yeah, I'm doing good.
It's kind of weird,
This
right?
trailer.
You like the trailer?
It's only weird if you make it.
Right. It's just I've never done one where I've sat next to somebody, you know.
Yeah,
I see a bunch of shows where they do that, but
yeah.
it's a little weird. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna zoom into you.
Okay.
I'm gonna zoom into me on this camera,
All right.
and let's just split it up, huh?
Sounds good.
Just put us both in there. Does that look all right? I might have to adjust some cameras or something.
Here. This one?
That's me.
A little bit that way?
Right there. Perfect.
Yep.
And I can come over here just a little bit.
Yeah.
What do you think? You look good?
That way, yeah.
Do you want to move it a little bit
No, I'm good.
on your end?
No, I'm good. I'm
No?
good if you're good. Yeah.
All right. We're good. So, here's what we're going to do tonight, guys. Oh, look, it's a little delay on that. So, what we're going to do is, I guess Eric was going to come in. We were just going to chit-chat, obviously, just have a conversation. But you just got back from the West Coast. You went out to the East Coast, or from the East Coast out to the West. I did the same thing over the last 4 or 5 months from October to mid-February. So, and a matter of fact, I was supposed to kind of still be out that direction at one point. And we were going to get together and maybe meet up and do a couple things together out west, but that didn't happen. And even then, once I came back here, I was still planning on trying to hopefully meet you somewhere over that direction.
Yeah.
Things didn't work out appointment-wise and stuff that I had going on, so
Right.
didn't work. But what we're going to try and do tonight is just kind of compare our trips a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what else? Did you have any other plans?
That's what I was
You
thinking.
didn't bring the
about,
music. Any
I didn't bring any
guitar or
music.
nothing?
I kind of wanted to. I was interested to see your trailer. We're in Brian's travel trailer. If you
Right.
guys didn't figure that out.
Yeah.
But I was interested to see the trailer because we sort of did two pretty different trips.
Right.
I went in a car. You went in the trailer with a dog, and
Yeah.
like sometimes I just blasted a whole bunch of miles and didn't really spend a lot of time. And the probably the best thing is somewhere in between the way we did it. You know what I mean? But yeah,
Right.
because I was interested in seeing your setup and yeah.
Yeah, I was maybe a little more, stop and smell the roses type guy, and you were kind of blazing through,
Yeah.
just trying on a time constraint, trying to get done.
Yeah, I actually had 18 days, but I came back in 14. I don't know.
What the hell? Why?
Well,
Well, I know why. You wanted to rest after your vacation, right?
you gotta take a vacation from your vacation before
Exactly.
you go back to work. And I don't know.
That's the way it always
I
is.
missed my wife. I wanted to come home and see her.
Oh, isn't that sweet?
Yeah, I know. I'm a sweet guy.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
Before we get too far into the show,
Sure.
I want to wet my whistle, and I'm sure you do too.
For sure.
That's your long drive from West Ashley, right?
Yeah.
Traffic was all right?
I mean, it's about the best I can ask for. I didn't run into anybody this time, so that's always a plus.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember that now, yeah. I didn't until you just said that. But
Yeah.
the last time you were on the show, you had a little fender bender with somebody that we knew, right?
Yeah, Fleming Moore's mother-in-law.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so-
Yeah. That is hilarious. Not really. It is now, but
Oh, it's
at
funny.
the time it was
It's
probably
all
not.
funny.
Yeah. We're going to open a beer real quick, and I'm going to look it up here, as we always do. if I can get out of this goddamn thing. How do I work this thing? I don't even know anymore. I really don't. How do we cancel this? Solo. There we go. All right. We're going to go into Untapped. This is from Columbia Craft. They're a brewery out of Columbia, South Carolina. I've been there one time when they first opened up. Pretty good. I enjoyed it. I like the space. The beers were a little bit, not fantastic at the time, but they were okay. Columbia Craft, American. Why is it not bringing up? Let's just go here. Columbia Craft. Lager, blonde. Why do I always have trouble pulling up these goddamn beers? Columbia Craft Brewery.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the American style ale is what we're trying to drink. If I can freaking find it. We're going to get it, guys. Just calm down over here. Columbia Craft. That's not how you spell craft. I usually have this right in front of me.
What's the Carolinian?
Carolinian. Okay, maybe that works.
There it be.
Where is it?
Blonde ale? Is it the blonde ale? American style ale? Yeah, that's the...
I guess it is. So here we go, guys. So the Carolinian is our devastatingly crisp American-style blonde ale developed with a clean malt backbone, low bitterness, and just a touch of honey malt sweetness. 2020 Great American Beer Festival Gold Medal winner for Golden Blonde Ale. Award-winning in 2019 U.S. Open and the South Carolina Brewers Guild Awards. So sounds like pretty damn good. The ratings don't really justify all the awards that they got. It's got a 3.59 on the ratings, which is, kind of middle of the road. 3.75 and above is kind of where you want to be for sure. But 4.7% ABV, alcohol by volume. So that's what we're going to drink right now, guys. We're going to cut back on to the double screen. And I'll just open them both up and pour them.
Mm-hmm.
I got these Booneshire cups that I bought up in Boone, North Carolina. I like them a lot. I don't like that you can't see the beer now when I pour beers, but they stay cold much longer than they did in just a regular glass. So, but that's what we're drinking right here. If I can, how do I turn this thing off? I haven't done a split screen in so long, so that's what we're drinking. Columbia Craft Carolinian American style ale. And I am sweating like a bitch over here. I don't know why, but god damn it. We'll do a little cheers.
Cheers.
Appreciate you coming in.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
That's about it.
It's easy.
Clean, easy drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Not the style I normally drink. It's more, blonde, lager, pilsners, those type things. I'll drink those in a pinch on the river or something like that, but mostly my go-to is more of an IPA style or pale ale, but a little more bitterness. This is just more of a clean, really good beer, really. I like it a lot.
Good for mowing the lawn.
Yeah.
Well, you can get nice and hydrated with this.
Yeah. One of my big complaints about this trailer is the first thing I noticed when I first got on the road, I did my first night, stopped at a campground, sat down on this couch, and I was watching some TV, or I didn't watch on my computer or something. I didn't buy this TV stand until later, so I didn't really even have any place to sit something. I had to just sit at my lap. But the first thing I noticed was there's no goddamn cup holders. I'm sitting at this couch, and I'm like, man, this is comfortable. I got the TV, I got the stereo going on, I got lights, I got all this stuff, amenities. I'm comfortable on the couch, but I have no place to set my drink. So one of my plans for the future is to install like a cup holder You know, just on either side of
yeah.
the couch over here. If I'm up, if I've got the bed laid down and I'm up, I've got these two things on the side, kind of like a night table, a nightstand on the side. So I got a place to put something over there. But I was really pissed off. You know, Brad Mallett up there at Coastal Coffee Roasters, he's got a new trailer. It's the same company as Forest River, but his is a Geo Pro, and this is a Rockwood Mini Light.
Okay.
Real similar size, amenities, all the stuff that's in here. His is a 2021. This is a 2017. His couch has cup holders built in to the armrest right here. So I guess you got to buy, you know, the more expensive shit and the newer models to get
how they get you,
the
man.
amenities. Yeah. So
Can you switch
now they
those? I'm looking like at you this way, but then I'm looking off screen that way. I think if you switched them, it'd look like we were looking at each other. I don't know if you can do that.
If you mean if I switch it
Sides, just switch sides with.
If I switch on here, let's see. If I put you first.
Now we're looking at each other, right?
Aha.
Yeah. I don't know.
See, I need somebody like you. Man. I need a technician that can tell me how to do this stuff. Yeah, for sure. We're now.
Yeah, now we're looking.
Now
at
we're in
each other.
sync.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it the other way though. It was a little weird the other way.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
We're pro now, man.
We could go to this one. Let's see if this one looks any better. Do you like that one better?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I mean, it puts us a little further away, but it gives us a little more acreage in the background.
For sure.
But
I like that.
I don't know, man. Who knows?
Works for me.
This is Craft Conversations, by the way, with Brian Dales and Eric Barnett. Just fucking around, doing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
We're just going to chit chat. Nothing really big on the agenda besides just talking. Oh, we got some funny comments already going on here, but and I'm not going to sit here and talk about all the comments and stuff. But
Sure.
Jen Friend,
It's Mike's wife.
what's up, my friend? What's up, Deb?
What's happening?
I might see Mike up there at Homegrown Brew House on Saturday. I guess he's playing.
Okay.
This Saturday, so
Right on.
maybe we'll go up there and check him out. All right, so let's get into it, man. So
Yeah.
the trip. So go ahead. You start off. What do you want to talk about?
Oh man, I've never been west of Chicago, I guess.
Really? Where are you from originally? Oh, that's right, Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio.
How could I forget?
And,
How could I forget Ohio State?
Yeah, we always used to go to Chicago.
Those transplant guys.
Yeah, Chicago was always our go-to for trips, about a 4.5 hour drive. And I guess I'd never really been west of there. I'd been to Albuquerque for like a work trip, but I didn't do anything.
Right.
And I'm always hearing how you just gotta drive out and see the West. And I kind of had a little bit of a road trip planned last year, right when COVID hit, and it got canceled.
Yeah.
So I thought this year was my chance. So I don't know. I had the first few days planned out. I really like Apalachicola, Florida. I have some friends in New Orleans, and that's really all the farther I had planned. I was just kind of making it up as I went along. I took 2 weeks off of work, and in the back of my head, my goal line was the West Coast, was LA.
Okay.
I had a buddy of mine that passed away about 8-9 years ago, and he lived in California, and they dedicated a bench to him on the Pacific Ocean. So
And that's the one you wrote a song about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I thought, if I'm gonna end up on the Pacific, I kind of want to start at the Atlantic. It's kind of poetic, so I went to Hunting Island first.
Down in Beaufort.
Yep, camped right on the beach. I said, well, I can watch the sun rise on the Atlantic, and then see if I can't end up on the Pacific. And the whole idea was the trip was, with COVID and everything going on, if things go south or something gets canceled or something's closed down and I can't see it, I'll just move on to the next thing.
Sure.
So the whole trip was sort of seat of my pants, is why every now and then you'd hear me, guys hammering outside.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'd get a hold of you and say, well, what's in this area? And then you'd give me suggestions, and then I'd completely disregard them.
Yeah. You did.
But it was a lot due to the nature of how elastic the plans were.
Yeah.
So To do it all in a real quick, started at Hunting Island, went through Apalachicola, a couple breweries there, had some friends in New Orleans, slept in a tent in their backyard, went into Texas, stayed in a campground in Texas.
So let's stop.
Yeah.
So you said you slept in a tent in your friend's backyard or whatever.
Yeah.
So you went out. What kind of vehicle did you go out in?
Honda CRV, sort of
Okay.
smaller SUV.
All right. So no living space inside the car. So you were
None whatsoever.
pretty much tent camping or relying on a
Well,
hotel or something.
I actually made a little pull-out bed in the back of the CRV. The seats fold flat, and it's like the 60-40 split, you know, half the seat folds down.
Sure.
And I made this bed where the slats fold out. I'd move the driver's seat forward, and then I found like a 6-foot mattress that can unfold on that bed. So actually the best night's sleep I had was inside the CRV.
Okay. So fold out like an inflatable, or it just
No, just
it just folded out down a couple inch,
4-inch thick
4
foam.
inches.
It folded into 3 pieces, and then it all fit like on top of that sleeping platform in the trunk space.
Okay.
When it all folded up, it was a pretty neat little design. It works, but yeah, I slept great that way. And then I have these things where I rolled the back windows down, and it's like a screen that goes over top of the door, so you kind of have a screened window. So if
Okay.
you have the windows open, the car bugs won't get in.
Right.
So it worked out pretty well. It's definitely a solo thing. I couldn't have
Right.
a
But that's good to
person-
know
yeah.
that somebody can go out and actually do something like that.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what the vehicle is, they don't have to have an elaborate RV or travel
Right.
trailer. You can just
Right.
kind of get out there and do it.
Then,
Like you said, more solo. Probably,
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
In that
yeah.
size vehicle, but
Then the tent I had was one of those like Coleman instant tents. It starts out like that big, and then you just throw it and it unfolds in like a second.
nice.
Just because Hunting Island's campground, you had to sleep in a tent. You couldn't sleep in your car.
Okay.
Where I stayed in New Orleans,
And that's weird, right? I mean, your car is there anyway, right? I mean, what's the
Yeah,
difference?
but the campground was actually away from the car, and they
Okay.
just didn't want anybody to sleep. I don't know, man. I would have slept if they would have not specifically told me to do that. I would have just slept in the car.
Right. I
But
don't mean
then,
to keep interrupting you, but
Oh,
so,
no,
so
you're good.
what did it cost you to sleep at Huntington Beach, Huntington Island,
Hunting Island.
Hunting
Hunting
Island? That's right.
I
Huntington
think
Beach is out California, I think. Actually.
I think that was the most. Well, I stayed in one hotel. I paid for one hotel, but I think that's the most I spent to camp, and it was like $30.
Okay, that's
But-
good.
Yeah,
I mean, if that's the most.
sure. Yeah.
I did like 67. I think was the most I spent out there to camp.
Yeah, but you have this. I was just in a tent.
That's true. I was getting power and water and
they did have
sewage and all that.
RVs, and the RVs did cost more. But yeah, and that was because I used that Campendium app actually that you showed me for a lot of places. I'll get into that.
Yeah.
But if you want a very specific destination, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sleep right there. I mean, I woke up in the morning. I set my alarm 15 minutes before the sunrise, and I walked 50 feet to the ocean
Yeah.
because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to see the ocean or the sunrise on the ocean.
Nice.
So, $30 is not much to make that happen.
No.
But then when I slept in Apalachicola, I used that Campendium app, and I found a free place to camp for free. Slept in the slept in the car that night. In New Orleans, I slept in some friends' backyards. They were being really careful with the COVID and everything. I said, "Listen, I'll just sleep if it's all right. I'll tent up in the backyard." And actually, where they were in New Orleans, I did not want to sleep in my car because I don't know. I swear I woke up to gunshots that night.
Oh yeah.
But I was in their
Yeah, you're in the
backyard,
backyard,
fenced in. Yeah, it's all good. Rather done that than be in a tent.
Sure.
And then the third night I spent in a tent was just another campground in Texas. I think I spent $20 on. And thinking of it now, I probably would have just slept in the SUV if I hadn't. I got there and everybody's setting up tents, and it takes me literally 2 minutes. So I was like, I'll set up the tent.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, it's really convenient to save money. To stay at a free parking space. Even at a Wally World.
Oh, yeah.
A Walmart or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to. It's not the best place to stay. I don't have the amenities. I don't have the water and the hookups and stuff. But free is for me sometimes.
Yeah, actually, So it was tent in Hunting Island,
Yeah.
car in Apalachicola, Florida, kind of Gulf Coast of Florida. Third night was tent in somebody's backyard in New Orleans. Fourth night was in Texas at a campground tent. That's the last night I slept in the tent, actually. Because
Really?
once you get west of Texas, or like even midway through Texas,
Yeah.
that Campendium app, you can always find a place to sleep.
Yeah.
Unless you're near the Grand Canyon,
Right.
because they want you to pay. So
Well, I mean, so you can still find a spot. You just gotta pay.
yeah, you got to pay for
Yeah.
it.
Right.
And
So you were pretty much doing 10 all the way out.
I did 10 and a mixture of 10 and 40, because one thing I decided on the way out is I wanted to go down to Big Bend National Park, which is down almost by Mexico in Texas.
Yeah.
So that took me south. So then I came up through like Las Cruces and everything, and I could have really gone over at that point. But I have a buddy that lives in Albuquerque. He's like, "Why don't you come up and visit me?" I was like, "Yeah, I haven't seen you in like 9 years, so I'll come up and visit you." So I stayed with him 2 days, because right as I pulled in, I had a flat tire.
Oh,
So I stayed there,
nice.
got my tire fixed, slept on the couch, and went to like a really good restaurant called the Range Cafe. Went to a really cool brewery. So yeah, a couple nights I spent on my buddy's couch. In Las Cruces, I actually slept in a Walmart parking lot that the Campendium app showed me.
Yeah.
On the way to Big Bend National
Which
Park.
is much easier in a car, by the way.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you're pulling
Yeah.
a trailer, you're not very stealthy at all. I mean, people know
Yeah.
you're pulling into to sleep there that night. But if you got a car,
Yeah.
you can kind of hide out a little bit.
The problem I kept making in the car that I figured out, a lot of this I figured out kind of on the go. So by the end of the trip, I was thinking back to the times I'd paid, and I was like, I probably didn't even have to do that.
Yeah.
But by the end of the trip, what I learned is some nights I was rolling in too early. You gotta roll in late if you want to stealth camp.
Yeah.
Because I would roll in. I probably pulled into the Las Cruces Walmart maybe 9 o'clock. And even though I go to bed at 9 o'clock every night, the rest of the world does not.
Oh, no.
That parking lot was probably busy until
It's
11
hot.
or so.
Exactly, yeah.
And
Every Walmart parking lot I pulled into was a party until 11, 11:30 at night.
a party.
Yeah,
that's-
exactly. A real party.
yeah. Trucks driving by, blasting. I mean,
Yeah, people
Yeah.
talking and hooting and hollering, having
for
a good
sure,
time, man.
yeah.
It's
And-
weird.
Yeah, and it's funny, man. Nobody's paying attention to you.
Yeah.
I mean, even the way I was laying in that car, you would have to literally come and stare into the car to know I was in there.
Yeah.
I mean, but you always feel like, is this okay and
Right,
everything.
yeah.
But-
I would turn every light off in the camper.
Yeah.
And have all the shades down and just have my little iPad and try and keep as low light as I could.
Sit
and
there, yeah.
Be
on
real
my phone,
stealthy, yeah. I thought if I had lights on, somebody was going to come and tell me to get the fuck out of there.
Right,
but-
right.
Yeah.
Then casinos is a great one.
Casinos are fantastic.
Yeah.
Most, probably 95% of them are free parking.
Sure. And
But
check that.
I did have some that kicked me out when I was in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah.
But I checked the Campendium app. I went to the ones that I actually, for those who don't know, you showed me Campendium. It's an app. It's a free app.
Yep.
Sort of like Yelp for camping. I mean, you can type in RV. I looked up parking spots because that's less RV and more van, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just like Yelp. People rate it and everything and say
Yeah. They tell you what
Yeah.
cell phone service you can get.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
all the way
how
down
much
to
it
like
costs.
all the way down to like, oh, it's a really nice security guard, and he comes and tells you. Like when I went down to Big Bend, I was in southwest Texas, and I wanted to camp at the closest spot to Big Bend because I saw that there was a place to see the sunrise. So I went as close as I could get, and there was a couple closer, and they said on that app, I went to stay there, and guards came and told me, this is where the border this is where they cross the border.
Yeah.
Probably don't be here.
Right.
So I used the app and went what they rated high, and in the morning I woke up. I woke up at like 4:30 that morning because it was 2 hours difference. It's my 6:30.
Yeah.
And I just drove out, saw the sunrise. I actually got in the national park before anybody was at the gate waiting for you to pay. So I sat there a second and I was like, all right. So I went in without paying. And then I saw the sunrise. Yeah, I was up on top of like this mountain. And I saw the sunrise. And then by the time I had driven down into the canyon, a ton of people were starting to get there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the whole thing of this trip is I didn't want to deal with people.
Yeah.
So I was like,
and you were probably just right on the cusp of the big RV travel season. I mean,
oh yeah,
you were
yeah.
right before the
right.
the big influx of everybody coming
Yeah.
out.
So
to
people
enjoy the
started
spring and
getting
summer.
there, and I was like, well, I'm not going to hike around with a ton of other people, so I'll start getting out of here. But the cool thing about Big Bend National Park is I drove in when it was pitch black, and on the way out, I saw everything I'd missed. Because you're driving through a 360-degree picture. I mean, every time you turn, there's pull-offs on the side of the road, and every time there was a pull-off, I wanted to pull off and take a picture.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so beautiful.
Which is an advantage you had because you're in this small little vehicle.
Sure.
You just pull off. You know, you apply the brakes and you're stopping in a couple hundred feet or whatever.
Oh, yeah. 10.
For me,
Yeah.
to pull this trailer over and
Yeah.
take in the sights everywhere I wanted to,
Sure.
it just wasn't happening.
Sure.
It wasn't
And
convenient.
that's why I could do it so fast, too,
Yeah.
as I was just in and out. And
Right. I saw some of the pictures you posted and stuff. I'm like, man, there was so many things I wanted to take a picture of. But by the time I realized I wanted to stop, for me, like I said, to stop my truck and this vehicle and get pulled over and then back up and turn around. And
yeah.
it was a pain in the ass, man. So I missed so many cool landmarks that I really wanted to fucking see.
I did. I enjoyed that part of it. I got to the point where, like, on the way back is sort of when I decided, well, let me back up. So I stayed in Albuquerque with my buddy a couple nights.
Well, let me ask you this before
Yeah.
we go any further. So
Sure.
you've mentioned a couple of people that you stayed with, and
Yeah.
you know, guy in New Mexico, guy down in Florida or New Orleans, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Did you plan all these events? I mean, did you plan the trip at all, or were you just going? You just knew your destination was L.A. I mean, did you have a roadmap? Did you have people you contacted and say, "Hey, I'm going to come stay with you," or it just happened?
So I booked Hunting Island ahead of time, like a month. It's good I did. I took the last spot.
Yeah,
And
it's a popular spot down there for sure.
And then the Apalachicola thing, I knew I wanted to stop in. I was just going to figure it out. And I planned, the people in New Orleans knew I was going to get there. Mm-hmm. Either that day or the next. And after that, no. Like the guy who lived in Albuquerque, I'd forgotten that he lived in Albuquerque. Nice. And I was just started out that way. And then a buddy of mine from Ohio was on a 5-week business trip in Phoenix. Mm-hmm. So he's like, hey, I'm in Phoenix. I was like, I'm heading the general direction of Phoenix. I'll stop in. And then on the way, when I was in Albuquerque, it would have been a quick drive to Phoenix.
Right.
But he said, I have to work 6 days a week. I get Sunday off. I said, well, I'll go to LA at first and come back. And we could spend Sunday together.
Yeah.
So Albuquerque, let's see. That's when I went to the Grand Canyon. Mm-hmm. Because I talked to my buddy and he said, you really want to go to the north rim of the Grand Canyon. That's the better place to see. There's less people. But the north rim was closed. So I was like, okay, I'll go south rim of the Grand Canyon.
So what do you mean closed? I mean, there's like a rec area right there that you have to check into. I mean, you can't just walk up to the north rim of the Grand Canyon.
It's national park. You got to pay to get in.
That's true. It is
the only national park I had to pay to get in was the Grand Canyon, and I want my money back. I went into the Grand. I waited for. Oh man, let me tell you, if you've never seen the Grand Canyon, see it once. You'll spend 15 minutes there. You'll go, all right, it's big. I'm good.
That's about right. I mean, it's fantastic. You're like, wow. But then you're done.
Well, the thing is,
I mean, you're not going to go swim in it or
I would have
bungee jump. Or
I would have
whatever.
loved to go down in it or do the rafting thing or do a full day.
I'm thinking about doing the rafting through the Grand Canyon on the
That's
Colorado.
great.
Yeah.
That wasn't available. I was just on the rim looking down in, and it's just like the pictures. You got to see it once, but after that,
the pictures don't do it justice. For
so
sure.
driving there, it was kind of out of the way of where I was going, and then to get through the gate, I sat in line for 2 hours in my car to get into the Grand Canyon, and then I had to pay like $30, and then I get in, and every parking lot was full, and I get to a parking lot, and there's a billion people. Thankfully, most doing good with the masks, and I will say, even though I have had COVID, I had it in December, and I should have all those good, antibodies and everything floating around me, and right now I'm actually half vaxxed. But I masked up and did the distancing, did everything right, and most people were doing good, but you can't bond with nature when there's 1,000 other people running around taking their selfies too.
Yeah, it is. And I guess that's a big advantage of my trip. I took it from October to February.
Mm-hmm.
And, nobody was out and about. I mean, a lot of the places I went to, I was the only fucking car there.
Right.
Unless it was the Air Force Base or something,
Sure.
a little more populated
Well, some
that's
of
the word I'm looking for. But yeah, I go out to these BLM spots and stuff, and I'd be the only car out there until the weekend.
right.
And, the weekend people got out there and stuff, but...
Well, I mean, it's because I went to the Grand Canyon.
Well, that's true, too.
But the other ones, I went to, when I was in New Mexico, I went to White Sands.
Mm-hmm.
Hardly anybody there. I went right when they opened, and I don't know why, but the girl just waved me through. She said, "Don't worry about it." I said, "Okay." The car in front of me paid. Maybe they paid for me. I don't know.
Right.
But she said, "Oh, just go on in." And White Sands, it looks like it was cold that day. It was like 22 degrees in the morning.
Ooh.
Desert gets cold.
Yeah, that's good.
But when it's that cold and you're driving through white sand, you think it's snow. So I was like thinking I'm driving through snow, and it doesn't feel like snow, and the road stops being road and starts being sand, and you're like, but that was really cool. It was, I was pretty well all alone in White Sands.
Right.
And then,
I was telling you, I've even posted a few things on Facebook here recently of some memories that have popped up from the White Sands Missile Range where I did a marathon out there.
yeah.
It was fantastic.
Beautiful out there.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I flew into Albuquerque, and I got a rental car and went down to White Sands, did the marathon, drove back to Albuquerque, stayed on the base there, in Albuquerque, and flew back out. So I loved it. It was a fantastic time that I was there, but I wish I would have seen more of the surrounding areas.
Right.
But,
one thing that I kind of made up my mind on halfway through the trip is I started to consider it sort of a reconnaissance mission, where there's about 3 or 4 days of that in a few locations where I thought, okay, my wife would really enjoy this part of it. And then, like, my brother would really enjoy this part of it. My buddy would really enjoy this part of it. Yeah. So now the idea is maybe next year, maybe take a month and have people join me on parts of it.
Sure.
Because kind of part of the reason I came back so fast, too, is I kind of got a little lonely, About 2 weeks in, I'm used to seeing my wife every day. I'm talking to her on the phone every day, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm good, I'm ready to go. But if somebody was with me the whole time, it's a lot of driving by yourself, and I did a lot of high mileage days. So, like, I went out to the West Coast, I went into California, went and found my buddy's bench, which the plaque had been stolen off of it. I don't have a lot of good things to say about LA right now, but
so that was LA proper.
It was LA proper, yeah. It was Santa Monica Pier. I went and saw the Hollywood sign, and of course, the place where you go to park to take the picture of the Hollywood sign is closed for COVID. California's pretty well buttoned up for COVID.
Yeah, I didn't even go into California because
there
was nothing I could do. I mean, I could have gone to a couple of the campgrounds, the BLM lands and stuff, but as far as getting there and then detaching my vehicle and going into town somewhere to get a drink or have something to eat or go hit a brewery, nothing.
Right, yeah. I found the Hollywood sign, which is on Mulholland, which is in a Tom Petty song, so I was like, I'll go see that.
Yeah.
I went and saw, like, a hotel that's in a Warren Zevon song. That's now an apartment complex. I tried to find Frank Zappa's grave, but it's unmarked. So I found Marilyn Monroe's grave, which is right next to Hugh Hefner's. And then I was trying to time it, so I saw the sun set on the Pacific Ocean, while sitting on my buddy's bench.
Okay.
So I timed it pretty well, and I got out there, and it was nice. Everybody on the beach was masked up. I mean, it was good. So I'm sitting there, and I was bummed that his plaque wasn't on the bench. And I got a hold of his family and said, his plaque isn't here. And they got a hold of the people who do it,
Well, what's the story behind the bench? I mean, how did this guy get a bench?
So I have a buddy who's from Cleveland, and he was like the best drummer I ever had the pleasure of playing music with. And we were in college together, and he moved out to Los Angeles to become like a sound engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And he was riding his motorcycle to work one day and got in an accident, didn't make it. Yeah. And there's a thing with the park system. He really liked to go to Santa Monica Beach, the Santa Monica Pier.
Who
and
does?
there's a thing with all the park systems that you can pay to have a bench dedicated to somebody for a set amount of years or a set amount of money. So there was a bench there and a bench in Cleveland dedicated to him. And I've never been to the Cleveland one. That's too close. I got to go to the far one. So I decided, hey, that's a nice like finish line for the trip. So I found it, and it was hard getting out there, and I couldn't find the plaque. Yeah. So I was contacting people who had been there and known, and I know for a fact I found the right one. And so I sat there on the bench and kind of watched the sunset, and then I thought, well, that's good. I'm good with LA. I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So
that's right there at the pier. You go out. It's got the Ferris wheel. And
oh
all
yeah,
that
yeah.
stuff
They
right
call
there.
it Muscle Beach.
Yeah.
Where everybody. Yep. It's right there.
Okay.
Sitting right in front of Muscle Beach.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yep. And then I saw like a guy pull a knife on another guy, so I was like, all right, I got my LA experience. I can get out of here. And the nearest place to stay that night was a casino in Coachella,
Okay.
which I did not want to stay anywhere in LA at all. I said, I got to get out of here. I mean, getting murdered is not the full experience that I want. So I left.
But at least the traffic was probably a little bit better than it normally is on the
oh yeah,
105.
yeah. Traffic was kind of bad rolling in and getting around, and I stayed in LA long enough to know that if I make the trip again, I don't need to go west of Arizona.
Yeah.
But then on the way back is when I met up with my buddy. He was in Casa Grande, which is right next to Phoenix. And we went on a really nice hike in Tonto National Forest. They call it National Forest, but it's cactuses and it's mesas and all that stuff that you're hiking around.
Right. I didn't do that one. I think that's on my list, though, because when I got into Arizona, I went to 3 different regional parks.
Mm-hmm.
And each time I went into a regional park, it cost me $7 to go in.
Yeah.
And the third time I went in, I said, hey, can I just get a pass? I just want to get a seasonal pass. And because I was a disabled veteran, the seasonal pass was like $80 for the year, maybe 88 or something like that. I got it for $47 for the entire year. So I got access to like 10 different regional parks in Arizona. So it's nice. But I think that's one of them. I think that's on the list. I think.
I thought about that when I was like going to the national parks. If I ever really wanted to do that, I'd try to get some kind of pass. But it ended up being the Grand Canyon's the only thing I had to pay to get into.
That's nice. I mean, they must be just not caring right now, just trying to get people just to come in, I guess.
I think so. The Tonto National Forest thing, it was 87 going up out of Phoenix because the next day I went from Phoenix to Albuquerque. Not because I was visiting my friend again, I just decided to take that way back. And 87 coming out of Phoenix, there's a couple spots you can just pull over and park and go for a little hike. And it's spots where like you'll go through a gate that you close behind you or the cows will get out, you know what I mean? And it was a nice little hike. The next day when I left out of there, the most beautiful drive on my whole trip was Phoenix to Albuquerque because it starts out cactus mesas and what have you, goes into like a pine forest when you get up in the mountains, and then that goes over to like more canyon-ish kind of territory before you get into Albuquerque. That day I put like 800 miles in. By the end of the day I was in a snowstorm in Texas.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I can't remember the biggest day I did. I've got it all written down on my phone, but my phone's over there. But
sure.
I want to say maybe I did a 700 or 800 mile day one day that was just brutal. I mean, pulling this trailer and the dog, and you got to stop to let the dog out. Yeah. Of course, I got to get a lot more gas than you got to get going across pulling a trailer.
Yeah.
Double or triple the amount of gas.
What's your range on a full tank?
Couple
hundred.
About 150, really.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not much at all. It sucks.
What happened that?
I was really surprised when I first started off. I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
where's all my gas going? I mean, the gauge, you could just
sure.
watch it go down.
Sure.
But I got used to it. But it's a lot of extra stops that just really put a big damper in your travels, really.
Yeah. That day I did the 800. Have you know about the Cadillac Ranch off of Route 66? All the Cadillacs sticking out of the ground.
Yeah.
So I wanted to see that, and I was losing time because I was coming west to east.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked to see when sunset was next to it, and I was like, I got to put the hammer down, or I'm gonna miss the sun. I'm gonna miss light there.
Right.
So it was really just hammering down for a photo op, but.
Yeah. And that's the other problem I got. I can't just put my hammer down.
Right.
I don't know, 65 miles an hour, 70 maybe at the most.
Sure, yeah.
You're probably hitting 80s and more than that. But
So I'll tell you this:
I was super slow and
yeah,
it sucked.
before I hit that snowstorm in Texas, the first 700 miles was 10 hours. So that's literally an average of 70 miles an hour.
Right.
And you got to drive 80 to average 70, you
Yeah.
know, because you're stopping and getting gas and the
Sure.
whole thing. Like I got gas twice, and I literally, you're not supposed to do this, would start the pump and then go pee while the gas
Oh yeah, you're not supposed to leave the pump, man.
You're not supposed to do. I mean,
I did that
times.
maybe once the entire time I was gone because it always scared me. I'm like, I'm gonna walk away. My dog's in the car.
Yeah,
Some kind of fire or spill's gonna happen.
they're gonna walk up and pull it out and you put it in theirs. And
Yeah.
I was like, looked around, nobody's there. We're doing this. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that I purposely came back the northern way just because I kind of was ready to come home, and there's nothing to see. If you are looking for things to see in this beautiful country of ours, do not drive through Oklahoma and northern Texas.
I don't know. I might disagree with that a little bit. I mean, I see your point. It's definitely desolate and a lot of flat land, and but I'm, where the hell? The place I stayed, I didn't stay. I ate. I can't remember the name of it. It was through Oklahoma's. The best burger I had the entire trip. It was a buffalo burger.
Okay.
God damn it! What was the name of it?
I actually sent, musician John Zachary, local musician?
No.
I know he's from Oklahoma, so I just said, is there anything in Oklahoma worth seeing? He was
This
like,
was right east of Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
And it was a small little town. I pulled in. I was just looking for a place to eat, so I went on Yelp or something and said hamburgers, and I found this place, and it was like a nice 50s style kind of diner. The burger was the best burger I had on the entire trip. I'll figure it out. I'll put it in the show notes maybe when I put this thing up. But what the hell was the name of it? I've told my son about it a million times and said, you got to go there. You got to go there. Best burger ever. Even the fries were fantastic.
Huh.
But anyway, I enjoyed the northern route more than I did the southern route.
Really?
I did. Because the roads on I-10
Oh, it's an easier drive.
east of San Antonio sucked.
Yeah, it's
it was
no good.
horrible.
Yeah, I didn't love it in a car, and I can't imagine a truck pulling a trailer.
Yeah.
And actually, when I was almost in El Paso, I hit a dust
hated
storm.
El Paso.
I had a dust storm for about 3 hours with almost zero visibility.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I can't.
That's the closest I got to the border, to the
Yeah.
Mexican border, was El Paso.
Yeah, I can't imagine pulling a trailer, man. It would have been.
Yeah,
It
El
wouldn't have
Paso
been for
is
me.
fucking huge, man. That city is so damn big. I did not know it was that big. It's the first time I've been through El Paso.
I only stopped at one spot in El Paso because there was a Barnett Harley. And it was like the biggest Harley store. And they got a bunch of stuff that says Barnett Harley. So I just bought a bunch of stuff for people. For like my family and stuff. I was like, hey, here's some with my name on it. But, yeah, actually, the few parts of it. Oh, one more thing on the way home that I would consider noteworthy.
Okay.
Muscle Shoals, Alabama. I don't know if you know anything about Muscle Shoals, Alabama.
I do not.
Except in the Leonard Skinner song when they say Muscle Shoals got the Swampers.
I don't even know that.
That's in Sweet Home, Alabama. There is a documentary, and it's actually all on YouTube now, called Muscle Shoals. And what happened is they opened a recording studio there, and they started recording some kind of regional artists, and it became a real hub for like R&B music, like Wilson Pickett, Aretha Franklin. All these people started recording there, and pretty soon you had like Paul Simon that wanted to show up. The Rolling Stones came and recorded there.
Wow.
In this little tiny, there's nothing there in this town.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
yeah,
I don't really like Alabama to begin with.
Yeah, that's all. That's
for no reason whatsoever. I just I just don't like it.
Sure.
I don't know why.
The only thing I can say is there are, and me being a music guy and being a recording guy too, you can tour 2 recording studios.
Right, that's right. On the way back, you hit a couple places, right?
Yeah, and they are 5 minutes from each other, and they have tours that they do. And I mean, there was a bathroom there where they said Keith Richards locked himself in that bathroom for 2 hours and wrote Wild Horses and came out and had it. And I went to the bathroom in that bathroom. And then they said, you know that song, Old Time Rock and Roll, Bob Seger, it starts out with that little piano? That's the piano right there. And then, I mean, for me, that's a thing.
Right.
So
I would think that's all legit. I mean, is that all verified?
For sure, 100%. Yeah. There's pictures. There's that documentary Muscle Shoals is. I would suggest that for anybody.
You said it's on Netflix.
It's all on YouTube.
Okay.
They pop an ad on every 10 minutes, but.
Well, I got premium, so I don't think I get any ads.
There you go. Yeah, check that out, man.
Okay.
But yeah, that was the highlight. I was going to stop in Atlanta that night and stay in a hotel, but I got to the hotel I booked, and it was in a rough neighborhood, and I get to the front desk and it says we'll be back in 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah, and I had just driven 500 miles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom. I need
right.
to shower.
Normally it's a sign for like 5 minutes or something, right?
Yeah,
10 minutes?
Yeah. I wait 30 minutes, nobody.
Nobody.
So I'm just like, I'm going home. Like, I was in Atlanta. It was like 4 in the afternoon.
What chain was this? What hotel chain was this?
Oh, it was whatever was cheapest on hotels.com or whatever.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't
like a Hampton or a Hilton.
No, I don't mess around with none of those. I'm cheap. I've been sleeping in my car every night, Brian, and hitting free camping.
True.
But yeah, this was like this. I was going to splurge and pay $40 for a 1-star hotel.
Right.
And then I started looking around, and I was like, I don't even want to park my car here.
Yeah.
So I was like, but what I wanted to do was, REM is from Athens, Georgia, and there's a few things there that's REM stuff, and I wanted to swing through there. What's that?
I said like the Masters. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, but anyway, so yeah, but I was just like, screw it, I'm going home. Yeah. So I got back at like 11 at night. But yeah, Atlanta, like, worst parts of my trip, LA, I'm down on LA.
Right.
I'm kind of down on the Grand Canyon.
Okay, fair enough.
Roswell, New Mexico didn't do anything for me. Yeah. I mean, it's a tourist thing.
You're right.
Didn't do anything for me, and then Atlanta. But
I could agree on all those points. Probably, but. Yeah, speaking of hotels, I stayed in a hotel one time. The entire trip, you know, I did nothing but camper, and that was it. But I got out to Reno to see my youngest son. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I was in Flagstaff for a while. Then I went into Vegas, and then I left Vegas, went up to Reno to visit my youngest son. And when I got into Reno, my son said that I could drop the trailer there, and I could keep the dog there if I wanted to, and go just kind of hang out. So I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to get a hotel and be without the dog, be with no trailer, have a nice big bed, a shower, a fucking bathtub, and just hang out for 2 nights. So I did that for 2 nights at the Nugget Casino Hotel up there. And of course gambled and won some money, what have you. But it was fantastic to kind of just, that was probably 3 months in, just to kind of refresh and hit a hotel for a couple of days with no responsibilities, no getting up to take the dog out, no feeding the dog, no doing this, anything. It was a nice refresh. So
the one night I did actually stay in a hotel was the same day I went to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
So I was so...
And by the way, I was going to take Leia with me into the hotel, but they
Yeah.
didn't allow dogs.
Didn't let her.
So, yeah.
I was so kind of put out of countenance to wait for 2 hours in my car to get into the Grand Canyon, and then to get in there and see 1,000 people.
Yeah.
So I got little notes here. So after the Grand Canyon, I was like, well, I'll go to Flagstaff, because you told me about a couple breweries in Flagstaff.
Yeah, my oldest son lives there. Yeah.
So yeah, I drove into Flagstaff thinking, well, I'll hit a couple breweries, I'll find a free place or a cheap place or a hotel. But it was starting tourist season, and one nice part is Andrew was at home on the computer finding me the cheapest stuff.
Oh, that's good.
So she was trying to find. So we're looking, and
I'm trying to drive and hit my
yeah.
phone and do Campendium at the same time.
Well, I would do what I would usually do is I would lay in bed or lay in the car where I'd camp and figure out the next day. I'd say, okay, Campendium says here, I'll go there.
Yeah.
But this one I was kind of trying to make up as I went along, because the Grand Canyon set me so far back, and she's like, well, I'll try to find you something in Flagstaff. And everything was like $150, $175. And so
Really?
I ended up going to, and you might know where this is, Ash Fork. It's west.
Ash Fork. I don't think I do know
So
where that
I
is.
found a little she found a little $40, and it's where the truckers stay.
Okay.
But that's my cup of tea, man.
Yeah, there was a place in
Yeah.
Flagstaff that every time I went there was like $35 or $40.
Yeah.
But they've torn it down now, and it's actually apartment buildings.
Okay.
There's also a haunted hotel there called the Monte Vista
Okay.
that is very, very cool, but at the time it was probably expensive as well.
Right.
But, so anyway, I'm sorry, Ash Fork.
Oh yeah, I ended up going out to Ash Fork to just this little trucker place. I got there, and the only game in town was this little barbecue place called Lulu Bells. I was like, I'll go.
I've heard of Lulu Bells.
Oh, go to Lulu Bells.
yeah.
I'm
I haven't been
telling
there,
you.
but I've heard the name for sure.
Oh man, if I ever go through there again, I probably won't stay at the hotel, but I will for sure go to Lulu Bells. I came prepared, man. I made a little list of my favorite places to eat. Is it time to get into that at all?
Yeah, let's do it. But let's open another beer. Are you empty? over there?
I'm empty. Yes.
Let's
Yes,
see what we got over here. So you brought something.
I did.
Let's.
I brought these. Let's see. I got these at Second Line Brewing in New Orleans.
Second. Let's see. It's just called Delicious. Is that the name of it?
No, it's called Second Line Brewing Coffee Blonde, maybe?
Yeah, let's pull this up here. Second line.
There's Second Line Brewing.
Let's just type in coffee here. Over the line.
There it is, Second Line Coffee Blonde.
Second Line Brewing, which is New Orleans, Louisiana. It's a microbrewery. I'm not reading all that. Let's go back over here.
Yeah.
So the coffee blonde. There's no description on this guy, but I mean, it kind of describes itself, right? It's a blonde with coffee notes in it. So
Ale with coffee and vanilla bean.
nice. Yeah, we were talking earlier. There's a brewery here in town, or over there near you, actually, Johns Island, James Island, Fam's Brewing Company, and they do a beer called Skinny Vanilla Latte, and it's a blonde, a coffee blonde as well. Or it might be a coffee stout, actually, but it's blonde in color. It's light in color, even though it's a stout. And they use the coffee from Coastal Coffee Roasters. And fantastic. I mean, it's probably their most popular beer, I
You
would
get
say.
the coffee on the nose right away.
Oh, for sure. Big time, yeah.
Yeah.
So did somebody tell you about this, or you came across it?
My friends that live in New Orleans took me there. They can actually walk to this place from their house, and we'd been one more time and gone there. And the funny thing about this is I didn't actually buy these when I visited the brewery. I went with them, got it, and on the way back I was like, man, I wish I'd gotten some of those coffee blondes. So
Right.
we got back to their house, and they just had some at their house.
Nice.
They were like, well, here you go. Take these with you. But I actually
Free
went
is
to...
for me. That's the way to go.
Oh yeah. Well, I'd picked them up something on the way into town. I stopped in Mississippi at a brewery and picked them up a mixed six from there. I'm a firm believer if you're going to roll in and visit somebody, come bearing beer.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just looking at this feed for some reason. I don't know why I look shorter than you, because I'm definitely taller than you, but for some reason...
Let me tilt your camera up a skosh.
No. I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
I just noticed it that
Maybe you
just
sit,
for
maybe
all
you
you
sit
listeners
lower.
out there, I am not the shorter one.
I'm definitely shorter and certainly fatter and 100% balder, but my beard's a little bit longer, so that has to
Yeah,
count
for
something.
sure. Your beard is definitely longer. Put this up here. This is Eric Barnett, by the way. Eric Barnett Music. He's not going to play any music tonight, but you can find him. I think I put it in here. Eric
That
Barnett
is me.
Music on Facebook.
Put that Instagram up for a second.
And then he's
I
also...
have pictures of all this stuff on the trip I've been talking about. Every day I would go on Instagram and kind of do my highlights of that day. I would put up the pictures. So any of this stuff that you seem to be interested in, either message me on that or I have it tagged. I went through and kind of when Brian...
If you're just listening,
Oh,
Eric
sure.
Barnett Music on Instagram and on Facebook.
Yes, sir.
ARIC, by the way. Barnett Music. 'Cause some people aren't watching this show.
Oh, right, yeah. So, when Brian was on his trip, I kept asking him, like, what's your top 5, or what's your favorites, or, because you were going to a lot of breweries, and I was like, well, I can't go to them all.
Man. I don't even know how many are on my list. It's on my phone over there.
Sure.
Again, but I probably hit 30 places, maybe. I don't know. It was a lot.
Yeah, I had 9,
Yeah.
which...
I mean, I might have a problem, but but that's the place I like to hang out. And a lot of those places are Harvest Host places, by the way,
Sure.
which we talked about Harvest Host.
Yeah.
And you had asked me about it.
Mm-hmm.
Solo, let's see, Harvest Host. You asked me if it was a military thing, but no, it's not. So RV camping, now it's up to... When I first started this thing, it was 1,200 plus wineries, breweries, farms, and more. And now they're over 2,100. So they keep adding more and more places as you go. But so it's a membership program. Invites you to stay self-contained RVers. I'm not sure how it works with cars.
Could it be like a van situation?
Maybe. I mean,
Okay.
I've definitely seen like Sprinter vans and stuff like that. But I want to say, if we hit learn more, blah, 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 blah.
Self-contained
I don't see
with
a
a
price.
toilet, water tank, and... Okay.
So anyway,
Yeah.
when you stay at these places, they're not giving you power, they're not giving you hookups, they're not giving you water. Some places will, as a matter of fact. I found as I've gone along. But you're pretty much on your own, so they want you to be self-contained in your
Sure.
own trailer.
Right.
They're not going to be able to give you anything. But I want to say that you could do it in a car as well, as long as you pay the money.
Right.
What the fuck do they care, you know? But
Right.
I think it's $79 for the entire year.
Well, they just probably don't want you expecting them to give you facilities if
Right.
they're not set up.
And I mean, most of these places are, you know, like it says, museums, breweries, distilleries, wineries, whatever. They have a bathroom. I mean, you're going to be able to go to the bathroom. But all they ask is for you to stay free at their place overnight, is that you just, you know, buy some of their stuff. You
Sure.
drink a beer, you eat a pretzel, you buy a bottle of wine, whatever. So Harvest Host, if you haven't checked it out, those guys give you an option all the way across the United States to stay at a bunch of cool, unique spots. Like I said, $79 for the year. So I mean, you're talking $5 a visit.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're talking,
One thing I did do, every brewery I visited, I drank when I was there.
This is a good beer, by the way. I
Oh,
like this.
What I like about
Subtle
this...
coffee.
Yeah, what I like about this is, you know, you always see coffee stouts.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about drinking a coffee that has cream and sugar in it, it's kind of heavy, it's kind of thick, that's kind of a coffee stout.
Right.
But a coffee blonde, to me, is kind of like like an iced coffee.
Yeah.
You know, when you go to like your Starbucks, what have you, you get an iced coffee.
Right. Cold brew.
Yeah, cold brew. Yeah,
Right.
a coffee blonde's kind of more like a cold brew,
Yeah.
which I
Tastes
take
just
on.
like that.
Yep. Yeah, the brewery I went to in Houston had a really good one as well.
Didn't make it to Houston.
So I'll tell you, the breweries I liked the best, actually Buffalo Bio Brewing Company in Houston was my favorite.
Okay. And I'm gonna need to get you to send me these guys.
Sure, yeah.
I want to tag all these guys.
Absolutely. Buffalo Bayou. I was going through Houston at lunchtime, so I was like, I'll have lunch. I wanted to find a brewery that did lunch. And the other thing
And again,
is,
another advantage of your travels was you pull up in your little
yeah,
the CRV and find a parking space.
park anywhere. Yep.
I've got to fucking find a place to park my rig, you know.
There you could have done it, but you wouldn't know.
Right.
You wouldn't know is the thing. Yeah,
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah, a lot of times I had to
Yeah.
call these people and I say, hey, look, I'm pulling a what the hell's a 21-foot travel trailer. Do you guys have a place
Sure.
to park? And they'd say, well, there's a hotel across the street. You could probably park. Truckers park there. Or, you know, they'd say, no, not really. So,
It's another layer of difficulty added
Oh,
to the
man.
thing. Yeah.
big learning curve.
So I went. What I really wanted to do was stop at Urban South Brewing, because on my previous visit to New Orleans, there's 2 Urban South breweries, one in New Orleans, one in Houston.
Okay.
And Urban South Houston,
But it's based out of
New
Houston?
Orleans.
New Orleans. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, based out of New Orleans, and I buy if a brewery has a cool hat, I buy a cool hat because I wear hats and when I play music and all that stuff, and I want to rep I want to rep cool businesses and breweries and stuff.
Right.
So I wanted another Urban South hat, so I was like, well, I'll stop at this other place and have lunch because they have food. Then I'll swing by Urban South and get a hat. And Andrea she always likes the sours. She always likes like the tangerine stuff and
Yeah, definitely remember the sours,
mango
for sure.
stuff and
Ciders.
Yep.
Sours,
Yep. So I swung into Buffalo Bayou, and what I'll tell you is Texas. When you think of Texas and you think of COVID, you think it's a bunch of people just running around breathing right in each other's mouths.
Right.
I pulled into Buffalo Bayou, and as soon as you got out of your car, you saw signs. We're doing social distancing. You might not be able to get into this brewery right now. We have a certain amount of people we allow in here. We are very, I don't want to say strict, very careful about how we implement this. They even had, I came right when it opened, so I got in fine. But they had it set up to where if you were waiting to get in, you could take a number, and then there was a place where picnic tables were spaced out where you could wait. And then it was 3 stories, gift shop and brewing at the bottom, and then 2 bars at the top, top 2 floors.
Nice.
And right when I walked in, how many are you? 1. Do you want to go to the 2nd floor or the 3rd? I said, what's the difference? I chose the 2nd. I said I'll go to the 2nd. Okay, we got 1 on the 2nd coming up.
Really? He's got a fucking...
They had it counted.
He's got a mic.
They had a little thing, and they knew how many people were in every place at any point.
Yeah.
They had you walking in a way where you would go to a table that was distanced from people. You were expected to wear your mask. I mean, perfect implementation of this.
Yeah, that's how Reno was
Yeah.
when I was there.
Yeah, and Texas, in a way, gets a bad rap. Then I went to West Texas, and I found out why. But Buffalo Bayou, good to go, man.
Yeah.
They sat me down, and I looked at their menu, and I'm a sucker for a good Cuban. And they had a Cuban with handmade potato chips on the menu, so I can't turn that down.
Right.
And
Yeah, if you got a Cuban or you have a cheesesteak, Philly cheesesteak,
oh yeah,
I'm on either
I'm
one
in,
of those.
man. So I had a Cuban, and that coffee blonde that they have there is actually, I think, a little bit better than this even.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. Second favorite, and this is also one of my favorite food as well. In Las Cruces, New Mexico, High Desert Brewing Company.
Mhm.
Tiny,
Heard of them.
yeah, tiny little unassuming place, kind of hard to find. Went into there, really wasn't expecting much. It was where I was ending at the day, and it was kind of one of the only breweries in town. And I went in, and they had a really good price for a flight, so I ordered a flight, and they had what Texas and Arizona and New Mexico do right is things with green chili.
Mhm.
They had like a green chili chicken stew, and I'm usually not into the kind of fruity beers and stuff, but that green chili was just that right, the right kind of spice that keeps you drinking.
Yeah.
So I made it through that flight pretty quick. And she came back by, and can I get you anything else? I said, yeah, I'm going to need to be. They had some sort of mango. It wasn't a sour. Some sort of mango. I'm not exactly sure what it was.
Yeah.
But
like
I said,
like a wheat beer probably or something.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I said, if I want to make it through this bowl of chili, which I absolutely want to do, I'm going to need at least one more of these. And, oh man, sometimes, and you know it yourself, sometimes a beer and a food works in such a way that
Oh yeah.
they couldn't do on their own.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why they do pairings.
Yes.
With wine or whatever. You know, we used to do a thing at Homegrown when I worked there, was partner there for 2.5 years. We did a couple instances of beer versus wine. And we, the chef, Michael Carcutt, head chef at Gray's, used to be Gray's of Somerville, now he's the head chef out at Gray's of Mount Pleasant. But we would do, he would do a menu, a 5-course menu, and we would pair a beer and a wine with each one of those courses.
Okay.
The guy at Accent on Wine, and then us at Homegrown. And we'd have a competition to see who paired the best drink with that food menu. So
Yeah.
food and beer and wine are
man.
meant to be paired together for sure.
You know when you're eating some spice, you get that good sweat?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, High Desert Brewing Company, Las Cruces, New Mexico.
All right.
Okay, maybe that might be first place. I'm not sure. Third place, Second Line Brewing, New Orleans, where we're getting this from.
Yeah.
Not just the coffee blonde. All their beer is good, but I'm a sucker for a coffee blonde. So, those are my 3.
Okay.
I went to other spots, and you know, also, a lot of places are kind of unremarkable. Doesn't make them bad.
No.
Doesn't make them bad by any means. It's still better than drinking what you can buy in the store for cheap. But
Yeah.
those to me, those are the 3 standouts. Those are the 3 I want to call out.
Very nice.
For food, High Desert is still in that list. Yeah, that's my number 1 actually. That green chili stew. Range Cafe.
But you had the Cuban or you didn't have the Cuban?
Cuban was in Houston.
The Cuban was in Houston.
Cuban was at the Buffalo Bayou Brewing Company.
Okay.
I'll show you a picture that I got on my phone. The Range Cafe in Albuquerque, I had another green chili chicken stew. Charleston does so much food right, and I don't see green chili anything anywhere that's done the right way.
I mean, it's maybe not local to here, right? Green chili.
Right? Yeah, but Charleston does everything.
Yeah.
I don't know why they can't get that, man. West Texas and New Mexico's got me on the green chili.
Yeah, New Mexico had the best breakfast burrito, and I can't remember. I can't remember the town I was in, but throughout New Mexico and Arizona and Nevada, I tried to get a burrito every chance I could get.
Sure.
And New Mexico had the best, I think, the best breakfast burritos out of any of the southern, desert Mexican style places.
I sent Andrea a message. My wife Andrea, she's Mexican food's her favorite food.
Yeah.
And I sent her a message like as soon as I got to West Texas and ate in a place where English was their second language.
Yeah.
Maybe English wasn't even their language. I had to speak there was a few places I had to speak a little bit of Spanish just to get
I did
fed.
too. And I took 3 years of it, so I did okay. But
yeah, I know enough to eat. I mean, come on. I can eat, go to the bathroom, and find the library.
There you go.
Just because Biblioteca.
Yeah.
But I sent Andrea a message. I said, I'm sorry to tell you this, hon, but you haven't had Mexican food before. Until you get to West Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, you haven't had Mexican food before. So.
Yeah.
Then
prior to that, I'm sorry to interrupt you
good.
again, but prior to that, my favorite place to eat was in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
I went there for basic training for the Air Force, and then I went back for recruiter training to become a recruiter for the Air Force. And we had a little spot outside. And I wish I could remember the name of the place, but there was a spot right outside the gate, the main gate of the Air Force Base there, San Antonio, that was probably to this day, hands down, the best breakfast burritos I've ever had in my life.
You gotta
right
come
outside
up
of
with
the
that.
base of San Antonio.
Because next year it might be a month.
Yeah.
See, I slid right between Austin and San Antonio, and I purposely didn't go to either of them because I was like, I need 3 days.
Yeah.
At either of these places, I need 3 days, or there's no point in going.
Yeah, I was on a mission to get back at that point. So
Yeah.
I didn't stop as many places on the way back as I did on the way out. But
yeah, and I think next year, if I do it again, if I take more time, it'll be one of those where, like I said, 3 days, and I know where not to go. I don't need to go to LA again. So, but my third spot, that Lulu Bell's barbecue that I was talking about.
Right.
They have the sandwich called the Lindermay. I forget exactly what was on it, but that's the thing to get.
Named after something or somebody?
The Lindermay. I'm not exactly sure. If you type in Lulu Bell Lindermay, it might tell you what's going on there.
How do you spell Lulu?
Lulu.
Lulu.
Bell. Belle. Lindermae.
MAE.
Yes, sir. Well, look at that.
TripAdvisor.
That'll tell you the menu.
What is Weebly?
That's just hosting. Click on that. That'll tell you the menu, I would hope. There we go.
Quesadilla. Chicken tenders. We're trying to find this sandwich here, guys. Is it a burger?
Yeah. There we go.
Lindermay. Angus patty on a ciabatta bun with whole green chili, Swiss cheese, avocado, sauteed onions, and garlic aioli. Aioli.
Man. I got a picture of that too.
That sounds pretty dang good.
But I'll tell you, it did the thing, man. Like, I kind of have a mind when I'm traveling that if it's something that I've never seen before, or if it's a regional, I do it.
Yeah.
Like, do you do a thing when you go to a brewery where you just say, like, what's your thing? Like, what's your...
I'll do that sometimes. I mean, a lot of times I just... As a bartender, I hated getting flights, or I hated people buying flights because I hated pouring them.
But has to do it, yeah.
But when I'm on the road, especially on a trip like that, going east to west, I get a flight. I try everything, almost everything on the fucking menu.
Sure. And I mean, even if you don't have a lot of time, get their flagship. I mean, if it's something they're willing to put their name on, go for that. I mean, and I'm that way with food. If I go there, I can get a mushroom Swiss burger anywhere I go.
Yeah.
But if they got a thing they do,
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Food, totally different story.
Yeah.
Beer, I try and get as many of them as I can in my mouth.
Yeah.
But the food, whatever. What's your big seller? What's your most popular?
Yeah. What do you
What are you known for?
Yeah. I remember I was on a bicycle trip one time and I ended up in like some little town in, I want to say Tennessee. No, West Virginia. And I roll into this tiny little spot and I ordered like French fries and they're like, "Do you want the gravy?" I was like, "French fries? Do I want the gravy?" I was like, yeah. Is that what you do?
Right.
Then yeah.
It's kind of an English thing, fries and gravy.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you're traveling,
like if you're in town, you want to get some seafood, or you want to get some shrimp and grits, or you want to get some she crab soup, or a fried green tomato. I mean,
if it's something you haven't heard of and they say, "Do you want it?" I mean, just say yes. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? You get McDonald's 10 minutes later?
Right.
You can get McDonald's anywhere. Don't do that. But my favorite places, I call them like attractions, but my favorite places that I just stopped at. Those 2 recording studios I told you about in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Fame Recording Studios, Muscle Shoals Sound. You get a tour there that's very historical. If you're into music, it's like Mecca.
Yeah.
There's a spot in Texas called the Devil's Backbone Tavern. Where
I've definitely heard of Devil's Backbone.
Well, you've heard of Devil's Backbone Brewing, and I think that's in a different state. I think it's in like Tennessee or something.
Okay.
Devil's Backbone Tavern's right off.
Excuse me.
It's close to Lukenbach, Texas, but it's like Texas's oldest juke joint. I like that place a lot. And then I'm a big fan of the High Five Dive Bar in Apalachicola. That's where my hat's from. So those are my favorite places. Just kind of stop and hang out.
Nice. Yeah, Devil's Backbone is in Roseland, Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be on what's called the Devil's Backbone Highway in Texas. And there's a singer-songwriter named Todd Snyder that wrote a song about the Devil's Backbone Tavern, which he ended up at because he got lost on the way to Lukenbach. I just went there because of a song.
Yeah.
And
Todd Snyder. Is that the guy from Dukes of Hazzard?
no.
Who's
Is that Tom Snyder?
Snyder?
Is that Tom Snyder?
It might be Tom Snyder, yeah.
Yeah. Was he Bo or Luke? But yeah, he wrote a song about the Devil's Backbone Tavern. And I went in there and I said, you know, how many people come here because of the Todd Snyder song? And they said, who?
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I liked the place. It was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was close to Lukenbach, Texas, you know, like from the song Waylon and Willie and the Boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of places on the trip, like, I would just be like, oh, I heard that in a song. I'll go there.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, and that's the great thing about traveling is everybody's got their own unique experience and what they want to see.
Sure.
You know, some people want to see all the national parks. Some people want to see all the breweries, like me. Some people want to see the musical
Oh, yeah.
things going on. So everybody's got their own experience, what they're interested in seeing.
And you know, with smartphones, you can. There was a lot of times I'd run out of service, but if you looked stuff up on a map ahead of time, Google would keep you on the road.
Right.
But the way you could Google things, the way you
I
can
had very few times that I couldn't
Really?
get service. What do you got? AT&T, Verizon?
Verizon.
See, I'm on AT&T, and I heard
West
AT&T was the worst.
Really?
The further west that you got. you
West Texas got rough.
know? Yeah.
But man, with smartphones, and you can Google anywhere, as long as you have a car that runs well and you can fill up the tank.
Yeah.
Man, get out there and see it. You know.
There's so many things. I tell people all the time, people want to go, I want to go to Italy, I want to go to France, I want to go to Germany, all this Spain. There's so many great things to see right here on our own backyard. See those first. I mean, I'm not telling anybody don't go, do all these things, but there's so many great things that are right here in our backyard that people don't know about. And the sad thing is, on top of that, is most people never even leave their fucking hometown.
Right.
Right. Which, that's great if you got a great hometown. Great to see that and experience that and live it or whatever. And if you're happy there, do that. But, oh my God, get out and experience life a little bit.
When I used to live in Ohio, I worked in a factory. And like I said, we'd always go to Chicago just as a trip. Yeah. And I had somebody say, do you know how lucky you are that you just get to go to Chicago? I went, what do you mean I get to go to Chicago? You have a car, right?
Yeah.
You know how to pump gas?
Right.
Go. I mean... As long as you
People have all these constraints, man. They got all these excuses.
Those are made up.
Do something.
Those are made up.
They are.
Yep. The world's. I mean, there are certainly places in big cities that aren't as safe as other places. You got to know when to go where. Yeah. But a place like Campendium, like you showed me, where you can look up what is safe and what is not. I mean, we got the whole world that we can figure out on our phones here.
It's so easy nowadays, man.
Yeah.
To plan a trip. I mean, it used to be, you had to pull out you had to unfold this big fucking map,
man.
or pull out an atlas and.
You used to print out directions from like MapQuest.
MapQuest, man, that was the way to go.
If you missed one road, that was it for you. You know. Yeah.
It's so easy now to get around to navigate, and it's just unbelievable.
It's funny, I know. I'm seeing your trailer here, and I'm like, man. That would be cool. And I know you're like, oh, you didn't have to have a trailer. And I mean, the whole point is...
There's some plus and minuses for sure.
Regardless of your setup. I mean, there's so many different ways to do it. I was thinking about, like, maybe I could get, like, a little van. Maybe not, like, a full Sprinter, but just a smaller van. I could have a smaller bed. My wife and I could do that. So, I mean, you can do it in a van. You can do it in a sedan, and you stay in hotels the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it. Expensive, but yeah. Sure. I mean, probably less expensive than a full-blown RV that costs $200,000. But you can do it that way too. You know, you could take a year to get to California and back, or you can take 14 days. I mean,
right. And speaking of California, so. Like I said, I didn't go into California because it was pretty much shut down. The furthest I went was Alec and I, my youngest son, we went to, and his girlfriend, Harley, we went to Mount Rose, ski resort. We did some skiing when I was up in Reno, and it was right on the Reno side or the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a brewery on the other side that was in California. So we called those guys up and said, "Hey," I looked on Untapped, and they were like the #1 brewery in that area. You know, if you go on Untapped, you can look up nearby venues, or you can look up top rated breweries, and you can look up local, and it'll show you, you know, the top 5 or 10 or whatever places that you want, that you probably should go in that area. And we found one that was over on the California side. Called them, and they said, "No, sorry, we're only open for takeout right now, so you can't even sit down and drink a beer." So I never went into California, but once I get done with my paddle trip, which is going to be from July until mid-October probably, I'll probably sit here for Thanksgiving and spend Thanksgiving here in town in Somerville, and then I'm heading back out to the West Coast, and hopefully everything is going to be pretty much wide open at that point. I mean, I know California's getting ready to open, I think, full blown here shortly. I've heard maybe in June, I think, or something. But
it honestly wasn't terrible. I mean, people were out; they were wearing masks. I mean, but I mean, you couldn't go sit and enjoy a place, you know, a restaurant or a bar. The one place I did eat at in California is, and I find things on Instagram when I go. And you know about birria tacos? It's a whole thing. I'll show you. But LA is known for their tacos.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm in LA. I'm going to go get tacos. And this place, it was all takeout. So I had to eat it in the car, which kind of diminished. You can't eat tacos in a car. Yeah. So that diminished that part of it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, aside from not being able to eat in a spot, California was pretty well all right. I mean, nobody treated me like I was bringing the plague.
I mean, I want to start off, you know, in San Diego and then just drive the highway all the way up into Washington, you know, through Oregon and Washington and whatever. And my big plan is to go into Alaska this next season, which is what I was supposed to do this season, but California was closed, the Canadian border is closed. So I have to go through Canada to get to the Alaskan highway to go down into Alaska. So hopefully this season, you know, I'm going to leave here after Thanksgiving, end of November, beginning of December, probably do the same route back through Flagstaff, see my son, back through Reno, see my other son, head over to California. By the end of spring, late May, early June, hopefully I'm driving through Canada, Alaska highway down into Alaska. Okay. Is my big plan for next season. So.
Did you mess around in like Vancouver or anything at
all?
Oh,
for sure. Yeah, I'll do all kind of whatever.
I got you.
In Canada for sure. But
I think
my big destination for this next season is Alaska, because I spent 6.5 years there.
Right.
And still got a bunch of friends there, a bunch of people that retired and stationed there. My ex-wife is actually there.
I mean, no place is perfect.
No. No, not at all.
You know, I do, as much as I really didn't dig on LA, I think I would really enjoy Northern California.
Yeah. And I've never been, actually, I've never been north of Santa Monica or Malibu right there. I've never been north of that. I've been to Washington State, but I've never been north in California. Yeah. You know, that next spot up. So I'm looking forward to it. I've heard it's fucking beautiful to travel that.
Sure.
Whatever the highway is, 5 or something, I think, maybe, that goes up the coast.
PCH, Pacific Coast Highway.
Right.
Yeah. I would have loved to, I really wanted to come back through, like, Vegas and then, like, Utah and Colorado. And
so you didn't do anything in Nevada at all?
I didn't even go in. Yeah, I went underneath. I went completely
underneath.
underneath.
You didn't even go through there to go to California?
No, I went underneath.
Okay.
So, right before, I do have friends that live in Colorado, but they had like 17 inches of snow.
I got friends I was going to see on my way out. My plan was to go through Oklahoma, and I was going to continue into Colorado to Colorado Springs. So I got some people there that are stationed there, still in the Air Force, that I was stationed with in Alaska. But same thing. I was very unsure of the weather, and thankfully I did not go into it because they had huge snowstorms. And I'm not set up for it, you know, in this trailer.
Right, yeah. Well,
you know,
it's hairy enough just pulling this thing, and then you start throwing snow in the equation. And...
Right. Then you got freezing temperatures, you got water lines, you got water heaters, you got all this shit that can break and freeze and crack. And
that, and then
I said, went
Yeah.
it went south big time.
The north rim of the Grand Canyon being closed is what kept me out of Utah on the way there.
Yeah.
And then it would have been Utah. It would have been Vegas then, and then down. But that combined with the snow, I said I'll just go south because I also got to see Joshua Tree, which is in kind of southeastern California.
Yeah.
Which that was cool. I mean, you see the Joshua trees and everything.
Right.
That was neat. But.
Yeah. You can see those other places besides
Sure.
just Joshua Tree. But
Well, I was looking for
they're a great fucking plant or whatever they are, plant tree.
Yeah. This was another part of my music thing. You know the band Queens of the Stone Age?
Oh yeah.
They have a recording studio in Joshua Tree. That they it's like a compound. They live there with the Arctic Monkeys, that band.
Yeah, I know Art Monkeys.
So I saw it, but it's like when you think of a compound in the desert where there's like the walls and you don't go in or else you might get a bead drawn on you.
Yeah.
It was like that. They had signs that's like, don't come in here. And I was like, you got it.
Yeah. I'm listening. Yeah.
I did buy a mezcal that their recording studio puts out, though. I brought that back with me.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was neat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to do Northern California, see the redwoods, and I think San Francisco would be more my bag than L.A.
Oh, you know what? I have been to San Francisco, so that is above L.A. right there, right?
Yeah, yep. I was in the airport for 3 hours, but that doesn't count.
No, I went there for a day. I went there for a Dave Matthews concert actually
Okay.
back in 2004. Me and my buddy Ryan, we were stationed in Illinois at the time, which I just went up and saw him recently. If you follow along, but we went and saw Dave Matthews Band at the Golden Gate Park,
Okay.
and it was phenomenal.
Right on.
Really fucking good. So yeah, I've been to San Francisco. We stayed just west of Chinatown, so we saw Chinatown and all
very
the
cool.
cool spots, and pretty much just parked. Well, we flew in. We took the what they call the BART, B-A-R-T, which is their metro system, kind of a high-speed rail system or whatever. Took that into downtown. We took a cab to our hotel. There was no Uber at the time, and pretty much just cabbed all around San Francisco. And
Oh, yeah.
went and saw the concert. Had a great time.
Awesome.
Santana was his special guest for that concert.
Really?
So Santana was playing with him. Oh, man,
There you go.
fantastic. San Francisco.
I think I'd dig on that way more than I would L.A. It just wasn't my scene. It was just too many people moving much too fast and
Yeah.
getting stuck in traffic.
Way too crowded, yeah.
And pulling
And,
knives
I
on
mean,
each
even at
other.
the time you went through, probably half the amount of
Oh,
traffic
for
that
sure.
would normally be there.
For sure. And it was still too much.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, when do you take off again? You gonna do it again?
Probably next year. Yeah, that's
You gonna
probably
do a
it.
solo again?
You know, like
Yeah.
I said, I might do the thing where I go for a whole month, and I was talking to Andrea. She would enjoy part of it, but not other parts. And talked to my little brother, and he'd enjoy part of it, and not other parts. And my buddy. So I might try to kind of line it up where people just fly out to me. Like part of it's Andrea and I going to Austin and probably San Antonio and maybe.
Austin's one place I wish I would have stopped on the way back, but like I said, I was in a hurry to get back, so
Yeah. Plus, it's
I
one
bypassed
you
it.
don't want to rush through Austin. You
Yeah.
know, I heard their barbecues the thing, and there's a really cool like waterfall there. And I was gonna go, but you have to book the tickets, and they were sold out. And a lot of it was dictated by what was open from COVID, what was booked out, what wasn't open seasonally.
Yeah.
But the way it all kind of worked out, I wouldn't change a thing about it.
Yeah. And I didn't, speaking of COVID, I didn't have a big problem going across or back from COVID, but there was definitely restrictions. But everybody seemed to have similar ideas. Definitely on the way out. On the way back, it seemed like once I hit Texas, and then from Texas on over, it got less and less and less and less.
Yeah.
Especially through, Louisiana, Mississippi.
Sure.
Georgia was very lax when I get back into Georgia, but so I'm hoping this next trip, when I kick back off, hopefully in November, that everything's going to be, for the most part, wide open. We should be mostly vaccinated.
Sure.
It should be a lot different experience, I think. The next trip I take.
For sure. Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool. What's you said November taking off? How long?
Yeah, probably late November, early December.
Okay.
I mean, indefinitely, really. I mean, I didn't plan on coming back when I did this time, but I had this this trip that I got selected for, the Mississippi River trip, that made me want to come back and just kind of get some things in order, get some appointments taken care of, and make sure I'm in good health, and do some training. And I'm going to leave my trailer and my dog here with my parents to allow me to do this 3-month trip that I'm doing. So this was just kind of a good home base to kind of come back to and have some stability. So my plan was not to even be back yet. I mean, I was planning on still being gone. But like I said, California was shut down, Canada was shut down, Mexico's pretty much shut down.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually I want to drive down into Mexico, Central America, those places. So a lot of things I want to do with this trailer, but a lot of restrictions at the moment.
I got you.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's what's up.
Keep us updated.
You as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully next time, I got nothing else to do, so my schedule is pretty much wide open for the most part. So if you hit the road again, or if I'm,
we got
if I'm out and
next
about,
time,
we got to do some shit together. For
Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. And I want to do that with a lot of people, really.
Right on.
And I'm hoping to do that with a lot of people on the river. There's a lot of people that have been telling me they're going to meet me and paddle certain sections of the river with me. So that's going to be interesting. The whole thing's going to be interesting. But
maybe I'll try to go back to Muscle Shoals when you're going through. It's right on the Mississippi.
There you go. I can dig it.
I'll bring you some food.
All right. Well, I guess that about wraps it up, huh?
Yeah.
Good trips, man.
Yeah.
More people need to do it.
Absolutely.
I think it would simplify their life and enhance their life and lower the stress levels, and just getting out to meet different people in different states and different ethnicities and tribes and what have you. I mean, it can only benefit you.
Oh, absolutely.
To get out of your little bubble and see the rest of the world.
Yeah.
See what everybody else is doing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it, brother. We're going to end this thing. I appreciate you.
Cheers.
Cheers again. And where are we at here? I can't ever look in place. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Later.